Paul, through the Propp platform, are you seeing more lenders kind of tailor and amend their criteria to keep up with these new requirements from borrowers?
Not as much as we would like. I mean, going back to Chris's point, I think that's something that lenders need to learn from is to not to sort of drive to the bottom in terms of margin, and actually find niches that they feel comfortable with and that are underserved at the moment. So I think there's a lot of work that lenders can be doing to prepare for some of the changes that I think we're going to see over the next 12 to 18 months. You know, touching on the changing profile of clients. Tanya pointed out there something that we've all got to take into consideration is that we're still not out of the furlough scheme. There's a lot of companies that have got CBILS loans that they've got to start addressing in the next 12 to 18 months. You know, even before the pandemic hit, we were at a level of unsecured credit commitments that we hadn't seen pre-2008, and that's still there. And it wouldn't surprise me if that bubble is really getting to a state where it's going to be unsustainable when the furlough scheme comes off. So lenders should now be preparing for 12 to 18 months. What are my customers going to look like? How are we going to continue to lend this huge tranche of money that we've all got, as Nick alluded to? The liquidity in the market is crazy. So start preparing for the market that's going to need to be served in 6 to 12 months time, and start to innovate, test your products, use companies that you're comfortable working with, that can sort of trial a product for you and then have it ready for when the market needs it. I don't want to be the doom monger, but we've all been talking about things like holiday let sectors and what have you, and it's a real boom in the staycation. One of my concerns actually is, do you end up with a flood to the market? Do you get to this stage that we had in 2007 and 2008, where we had new build flats going up in central city locations, and we had investors buying 10, 15 in a block, and then suddenly they're all on the market for rent? Do we get to a situation where some of these lovely holiday locations are just holiday lets because people have put all their money in it? And then if the demand does shift, if, as Miranda said, people start jumping on planes again, you've got people that maybe have jumped on the bandwagon, are not seasoned investors, are left with these properties which are typically on higher rates of interest, and if they're not keeping them occupied, that's they've got a debt to service there. So there's definitely some real opportunity in the market. There's also some areas that we're certainly making sure that we're giving clients some cautious advice about whether it's the right thing for them to do or not.
Can I jump in now? Paul, I think you've made an amazing point. It's something that I've been saying for the last year, is that as soon as furlough finishes, I think that's going to have a domino effect on absolutely everything. Because if you look at a lot of these businesses that have got people on furlough to help them, great, I think it's a great thing. But companies now have realised that they can consolidate their business, they can work with much lower overheads and have higher margins. That all that's going to happen as soon as furlough finishes, a lot of these businesses are going to convert these people on furlough into redundancies. You're then going to have unemployment go through the roof, and that will naturally then have a domino effect on the housing market. I personally think that we're in a bit of a false bubble at the moment, simply on the basis that if you look at everything that's happened globally in the last 18 months, there's no way that prices and demand should be as high as what they are. It's only because you're having the CBILS, the furlough, all of that is helping people. It can't sustain it. It's absolutely impossible. Now, again, like Paul, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but I think we really need to start preparing for what the market is going to look like afterwards. I think I mean, we have quite a number of substantial property investors and developers that we know at the moment they're not buying because they just can't get anything for the right price, and everything, the land prices, for example, especially in London and the southeast, is through the roof. So they're all sitting on their hands waiting for this little bubble to burst, and then they're going to come in and start buying up at more competitive prices, because at the moment it's just not sustainable, the prices that people are demanding.